Hello, hello. Welcome back to another Menlo Community Call. I'm Mimi, and I'm very happy to be your host once again this week. We've got a pretty packed one, and there's quite a bit happening at Menlo, so let's get into it. If you're watching us live, come say hi in the chat as usual, and feel free to drop your questions in there as we go. So, if you're new here, these calls are a weekly check-in with the team, where we share a bit more context behind the demos, updates, and all the good stuff that we get up to. So for today, we'll be kicking things off with a quick update on Asimov 1 shipping. And UK is up next with the latest manual updates as usual. And after that, our brain team is going to demo something we've been cooking up with via teleops. Ashley will then take us through the letest Asimov Manager updates, including the new onboarding flow and cockpit design, and we'll wrap things up with Herman and careers. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm going to need to switch my screen for a bit, so give me a second. So we have a lot going on actually this week, and as you can see here, the first batch of Asimov 1 is shipping in a few days, which is a pretty big milestone for us. And I know that many of you have been waiting for this day. Honestly, so have we. So in case you missed this, we've shared a couple of updates on X. So let me show you through some of the pictures we have, and Frank is going to speak a bit in more detail on this, but this is also why you should be following us on X. And as you can see here, we have a lot of things cooking up, and this is actually what it looks like fully assembled. So it arrived in our office just a few days ago, and the team has been buzzing. And on that note, we're also working on shipping the fully assembled version as an option for you in case you don't want the DIY kit version. So more news on that later. And this is the first look, so we'll be sharing more as we get closer to shipping. And if you've been thinking about getting it yourself, well, this is probably a sign, because we think it looks amazing, not to brag. But you should head over to our website and just get your own Asimov like today. Okay, so with that, let's get into the specifics of the shipping updates, and Frank will share on this. Okay, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mimi. And I'm Frank. Hello, everyone. And I will give update about the Asimov fulfill status here. I think, as you all know, and our first batch of Asimov 1 and the delivery is coming soon. So today, all of the materials will be ready at our CM site, and we are already performing the quality check for these materials. So basically, we will ship out first unit and the next Monday, and we'll complete all the shipment before the 10th September at the latest. And also a quick reminder, and regarding we ship out the S1 battery separately due to air cargo restriction. So you will receive two packages. One is the DIY kit, and the other is the battery pack. So regarding the second batch building, everything is still going as our plan. We plan to ship out the second batch within the end of September.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Next, we can move on to Yuki.
Hi everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. I just have some quick update on the manual. So a great milestone for us this week is that we actually finally complete the full assembly guide as well as the assembly on the manual side. So right now I'm just trying to combine both and then publish the new version so that everyone can see what the new assembly guide is. So I just want to quickly go through some of the part that's look interesting. So it's just gonna be a slideshow experience for everyone. That's all. Yeah. So right now this is like the full assembly. So we didn't really get to this part before, right? Like how all the parts kind of like merged together. So this time around is actually fully done. Yeah, so there's still a lot of works to be done on the manual side, such as like preparation for, you know, like setting out the parts as well as like how to set up all the boards and compute and all the software stack on Asimov side also. But yeah, this has been quite a great milestone for us to. Oh, okay, this part is actually pretty cool because so if you export it from SolidWorks, you probably couldn't do all of the wiring that's being done here. Yeah, but yeah, so these the things that we kind of like pay all the detailed attention to make sure that like the assembly process is as easy as it get. Right. Yeah. Um, Okay, so even from on like all of the compute board, we even model all of that, right? So camera insertion, um, the compute on top, which is like the RPi, installation into the heads. Yep, the whole 9 yard essentially, and even for like completion of like let's say battery insertion, secure, then all of the final few steps that you need to get it done on the Asimov. And that's it. That's the full assembly of Asimov 1 done. And this will be free available on our manual for all of, for everyone, essentially. Yeah. So that's it from my side. Do keep a lookout for the new update to the docs probably by next week. Yeah. I hope everyone will get a look at it and, give feedbacks if there's something wrong or that we could done better. Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Yuki. Yuki's been working very hard on the manual. Okay, next up we have our wonderful brain team.
Okay. Okay, you guys hear me? Hold on. Okay, so yeah, so this is Alex. He's on the brain team and he's been working on the whole body control of the robot. So what you see here is the Pico headset connected to the robot. So everything that Alex is doing right now, he's able to like the robot is able to copy it. And this is kind of like the first step to training a model that will allow us to kind of like run this robot like in with real physics. So as you can see right now, it's kind of hanging on a crane, but this kind of like allows us to kind of make sure that our retargeting, everything is good. It's actually tracking what Alex is doing, right? So it's a kind it's almost like a kind of mocap, but it's also only five sensors. So there's one sensor in the head, two in each in the hands, two in the legs. You can see on Alex's leg, there's a sensor there. So that's how the headset works. And yeah, so you can see from the side view as he's walking, you can see the robot's kind of like walking. So we're gonna teach the robot how to mimic these motions with gravity involved, right? So that is going to be a little bit of a process. And we'll likely use NVIDIA Sonic for this. So we'll be training a model for that. But yeah, this is kind of yeah, yeah. Getting all the mapping correct. Yeah. Um, yeah. So the other thing is we have a new robot in the office. This is the new robot that we're bringing online. I mean, if you've seen our social media, you would have seen this guy coming out of the box. But there's some stuff that we need to upgrade on that robot, so you should see that soon. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna try. We're gonna do a fist bump with Alex. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So that's it for our demo this week. Yeah. Happy to answer any questions.
Looks amazing. Okay, if you guys have any questions or comments, please drop them in the chat. In the meantime, we can move on to Ashley. Thanks, Etsy.
So hey everybody, my name is Ashley. I'm a product designer here at Menlo, and today I'm going to give you a quick update on how the SMOP manager will look when user receive the robot. So for the first batch of SMOP delivery, user can control and configure the settings of the robot directly using the SMOP managers. So there are two things I want to cover today. The first one is the onboarding and robot setup flow, and the second one is the cockpit, which is the screen where user can control the robot. So previously, I showed you guys like a very simple checklist for onboarding users, but I felt that it was a little bit boring and not very intuitive. It also felt a little bit cumbersome because users would have to manually go through a list of steps. So the new approach I'm taking is that we try to automatically detect the robot states and prompt users with the appropriate next step. So for example, when users spin up the SMOP manager in the browser, we will first detect whether the RPU is reachable or not. So when the RPU is not reachable, users will see a screen like this asking them to connect the RPU first. And we will ask them to power on the robot control unit and connect its network cable, regardless of whether the robot itself is already assembled or still in parts. And from here, SMOP manager can take over and guide them through the whole process. So if the RPU isn't reachable, user will basically stay on the screen until they resolve the issues. And but they can also choose setup later. And if they choose that, they will still access. They can still access the full SMOP manager dashboard, and the onboarding flow will just collapse into a stack on the left sidebar like this. And user can continue the onboarding process whenever they want. And now I'm going to walk you through like what different pages looks like if the RPU is not reachable. So for example, on the robot setup page, users won't be able to start the setup. They will have to troubleshoot the connection first. And because the RPU is unreachable, user won't be able to access like hardware related functions like robot setup or firmware. But and they won't be able to drive control the robot. However, they can still access and configure settings that don't require the RPU, like such as Wi-Fi, Menlo Cloud, or remote access and other services. And when the RPU is reachable, one thing to know is that we cannot fully detect whether the robot is fully assembled or not. Instead, we use something like a marker stored on the RPU. So for example, once the hardware setup has been completed, there will be a marker saying something like setup was finished on this machine. So we detect that marker and we know if that machine is already been set up or not. In that case, we will skip the setup flow and take users directly to the screen that says something like SMOP run is ready. Starting Princess Mother on live, and remember to like give it room to move. And at this point, the only thing user needs to do is to start the firmware. And when they click start the robot, SMOP manager will run the firmware and the motors will go live, and the robot will be ready to control from the cockpit. So if the RPU is connected, but we don't detect the setup marker, then we will show the onboarding screen asking users to set up their robot. It will explain that the robot motors haven't been configured yet, and that the robot setup wizard will guide them through configuring the robot. And from here, users are directed to the robot setup page right under the hardware sections. So let me show you how the robot setup page looks like. There are 4 steps in the robot setup flow. So the first one is assigning the IDs. User needs to connect exactly one motor to the setup connectors and program it according to the suggested sticker they have to repeat the process for all 25 motors because ASIMO 1 has 25 motors. There's also a graphic on the left showing the positions of the motors on the robot. So users can easily understand like which motor they're currently setting up and where it belongs on the robot. One important thing is that this is intended before assembly only, so otherwise the wrong motors could potentially be pre-programmed. And the second step is once all of the motors have been assigned, the system will automatically check 25 motors to make sure that they are connected and responding correctly. So if there's any issues, the robot graphic will show exactly where that motor is located on the machine. So users can immediately see like which motor isn't responding and which part has an error and adjust the setup accordingly. So once all the motors are assigned, we confirm that they are responding correctly. We will zero the motors. So for this step, users need to place the robot in its home positions and hold it still. So the current position of each motor will then become like its 0 points. So when user decides something like, okay, this is the robot's home positions, that will hold the robot still and then click zero all motors. And then the system will then use that position as the robot's 0 positions. And once every motor has been detected and the robot has been 0, user can move into the final step. Once they click finish setup, it will start the ASIMO firmware on the RBU. And once the firmware starts, the motors will go live. And once the setup is complete, the robot setup page will show the robot with all of its active motors. And the status will say that the setup is complete and the robot is live and ready to drive. At this point, users will have two options. They can drive the robot or they can try to set up the robot again if they need to repeat the setup process. And yeah, that's everything for the onboarding and robot setup flow. So the next part I want to show you is the cockpit design, which is where users control the robots. So for this part, I'm mainly focusing on the mobile first approach because the assumption is that once user receive and finish setting up the robots, they will probably want to try to control it using their phone rather than opening a desktop app or sitting in front of a laptop. So for the mobile and tablet breakpoints, users have two ways to control the robot. So this is exactly similar to the mobile app that I showed a few weeks ago. The first mode is the joystick method, and the second one is the buttons method. Users can expand the cockpit horizontally into a full screen like this and control the robot from here. And they can also see like the robot camera feeds. They can check the logs, and they can like switch between the robot poster. So the desktop version is gonna be a little bit different. So on desktop, user can control the robot using like the keyboard. They use WASD to move the robot forward, backward, left, or right, and then they use Q and E to turn the robot to the left or the right. So the interaction is similar to controlling a character in a game. User can also switch between the robot poster from the tab of the top center, and they can check the log as well. One important thing to know is that right now we have designed the robot around 3 states: them, stand, and walk. The them state is basically when the motors are on, but the robot is resting on the rail and the robot isn't able to walk from the state. So if users want to walk the robot first needs to transition from them to stand and walk. So users can directly go from them to walk. If they try to do that, we'll show a warning pop-up saying something like walking start from standing. The robot must stand before it can walk. And then we would then ask users to stand the robot first. Similarly, if the robot is currently walking and the users try to put it into them state, we will ask them to stand the robot first before damping it and shutting down the robot. So these pop-up are only shown when the users try to make an invalid transitions or skip a required step. If they follow the correct progressions, there won't be any warning pop-up. And yeah, that's everything I want to show for today. If you have any feedbacks or concern, you can comment directly. Thank you.
That looks fantastic, actually. I think everyone's really excited. Oh, there's a comment from Mando. Maybe we could try to rotate mobile app UX to look like a gaming controller. That would be a very interesting idea. I think it would be a very fun experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to
Hi everyone, very nice to see all of you today. I'm so glad there's so many of you guys joining us today. So I'm doing my usual plug. Let me share my screen real quick. Yep, we are hiring for lots of roles. We're hiring in San Francisco, Ho Chi Minh City, and Singapore. There's a couple of roles that are open. I look forward to talking to each and every one of you. Focus for us actually, we are prioritizing key roles such as marketing and robotics AI engineer. So if that skill set sounds like something you can do, drop us, submit your resume, and I'll look forward to talking to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman. Okay. I think that's everything from us today. Thank you for hanging out with us. Once again, if you're interested in Asimov 1, you can head over to our website to learn more and get yours today. And if you're interested in joining our team, especially after seeing everything that we've been working on, you can head over to our careers page. And if you've got any questions we didn't get to today, come find us on the forum, on Discord, or X, all of those. And yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you.